Hello, hello. Good morning, masterminders. It is so good to see all of you today.
Good morning.
Hello. I am so excited for the next 6 months. Y'all don't know. You don't even know how much your lives are about to change in, I think, the best way that I could possibly give gifts to you. So welcome. It's good to see you guys. We're going to do some introductions in a minute. We're going to go over the flow. But I had a couple of people message me that they were going to be late. And then I also had, yes. So Talia, it might be the wrong address. I just saw that. I'll help you troubleshoot after the call.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.
I'm worried that Dimitri, oh, they do have the link. Okay, I was like, I had Dimitri and Sarah were in the last round of the mastermind, and I had them I wasn't sure if they actually got the link because I had them sign up before I even put the Zoom link in the Acuity scheduling, all the fun. But I'm so excited to see you guys today. We'll get started in about 30 seconds. You all obviously have computers, and we're going to do a group picture. We do it every week. It's like a family tradition. So get ready.
Right.
And
Let me.
we'll do a quick pick, and then as people trickle in, they'll get caught up. And of course, this is being recorded. Every session will be, and it will be posted. Also, apologies. I'm trying to make it so that you guys don't get updates every single time that I post in here. I'm sure it's looking insane right now, but that's okay. And as you guys wait, we're going to do introductions in a minute. So you're going to say your name, your business, and who do you help? And why did you decide to start your business? And what made you decide to join this mastermind? And what are you excited to learn about? If this is your first time here, welcome. If this is your second time here, what are you most excited about learning in this round? And I just put it in the chat because I'm a weirdo and I'm like, I would be the person mentally practicing what my answers are. So if you're like that too, you're not alone, and they're in the chat for you. They're also in the stream of the classroom, which I don't think many people had access to. Andrea, killing it, girl. You were the only person that I think was able to join. So that is totally fine. I invited a couple of you, and there was also an issue with Demetria last round. She wasn't able to use, even though her email was a Gmail account, because it said Demetria.com instead of Gmail, she had to use a regular Gmail. So Talia, I got a feeling that might
be my problem.
That might be the thing.
Yeah.
So get your emails up and ready, and I might be, it's saying I can't invite from this domain. So I'll show you guys that in a second. Who is ready to get rallying? Let's do it. Okay, so I will usually start with a song. I will also post in this next round, I'll post in the stream what we're going to make a playlist. And this did not work as well. Dimitri, you were the only person who actually posted a song. So we're definitely going to make a Spotify playlist for this round. And I will play your song to start off at the beginning of one of our sessions, some of them. And so, like I was saying before, if you're watching this, I know Jess is also working full time and she probably won't be able to join our calls. So if for some reason it doesn't say gmail.com, Maria, you also might have this issue. And Vindia, you also might have this issue. Yours says Gmail, so I think you'll be okay. But if it says Demetria, we weren't able to add this one for some reason. So I'm inviting you guys, and Talia, I'm going to have to just send you this link, and you might need to use another email if that works for you.
Yeah, I have another Gmail.
Okay, cool. If you can just email me that'd be great. You don't need it for like another couple minutes.
Okay.
I want, if you can, actually, the link I just put in the chat is specifically to join the group. So if everyone can join the group with your Gmail account or otherwise, go ahead and do that now, because the way that we're also going to start the first session, the beginning of most sessions, is going to be taking a moment to evaluate and reflect as a CEO. So this is something that I do every week. It is tracking my progress. It is evaluating where I'm at, what's working, and areas of improvement. So that is a coming. And while you guys are joining, I would love to do some introductions. So we're going to start with the people that are here. And if anyone is joining, like Jess, I don't think she's going to be able to attend a call. You're going to just like record a quick little video introducing yourself, and I'll post it here. And so, as you guys probably know, hey, I'm Megan, and I am the founder of Six Figure Systems. I decided to found this coaching program that you lovely humans are in because I know how hard it was for me to start my business and get the systems going up like at the beginning. And I wanted to make sure that you guys had that too, and just had an easier way to start your business. I also recognize that I said I was going to take a picture and I didn't take a picture, did I? So we're going to take the picture really quick, and then I'm going to continue to introduce myself. 88, well, it's going to be like this sometimes, and that's fine. Okay, you guys ready? 1, 2, 3. Awesome. So back to my intro. I decided to start this mastermind because I realized the value in collaboration, and I wanted to teach this content specifically in the last round because I wanted to get the videos recorded for you with other people in the background, like having me teach in real time. And this round is going to be a little bit different because towards the end of last round, we started to collaborate. And what's going to happen is I'm going to coach each and every one of you at the beginning of this call or whenever you need some coaching. And I'm going to help you get into your CEO mindset. Then you're going to solve the problem that you're bringing with the coaching. And then I'm going to give you feedback, because that's why you're paying for this mastermind, is like for my advice specifically. But you also are in this group with 7 other awesome, brilliant entrepreneurs that might also have other ideas. So this round is going to be a lot about collaboration. Coming live will be great, but also if you are not able to come live, you can always post in this classroom stream to like give other feedback and ideas and tag people in those. And I'm really excited to see what happens when like this amazing, and it's all women this round, so this amazing group of women gets together and we can all like build each other up and make our businesses stronger. So that's why I decided to do this round a little differently. And I'm most excited to learn about each and every one of you. And I'm also excited to learn and see how this collaborative unit works, along with including that application time for the modules. So excited about that. I think it's going to be great. I would love to hear who wants to introduce himself next. Feeling brave, raise your hand, or you can actually just unmute. That's fine.
I'll go first. Let me pull up the chat here again. So my name is Andrea Munoz, and I help high achieving moms with over 100 pounds to lose, find more peace, joy, and slimmer bodies in their lives. And I decided to start my business because I have lost over 90 pounds myself. And I was that high achieving mom who felt tossed around by life every day. And it was really about coming back home to myself and really caring and nurturing for myself, finding my own peace and my own joy that allowed me to shed that weight in a really effortless and enjoyable way. So I actually, I had done a master, or not a, I guess it was a master class, at one point with Demetria, and then Christina and Shanna, were participants, in your last round. So I had actually spoken with Shanna and Christina about their experience, and they had really great things to say. And I know for myself, I've been in business about 3 years now, and it still seems kind of like what it was before when I lost my weight. I feel like I'm tossed around day to day by my business. And I feel like I am consistently getting some things done. But I am having, I want to grow more in the way of figuring out where exactly are my clients coming from? What exactly am I doing that's producing results, and being more consistent in those activities rather than the activities that I'm like, well, this is what other coaches do and I should do, and that kind of stuff. So I guess that also answers the what am I most excited about learning is being more effective in my time and really knowing where my value activities are and not just my busy work.
I love that. And Andrea, thank you so much for sharing all of that, because like, as you guys are going to learn, all of the people in this group, we all have very like kind of like different businesses. And if you're thinking about like, if you guys, what we want to do is create the collaborative environment where if you know someone who's like wanting to lose 100 pounds, like Andrea is your girl. So you can, they're a high achieving mom. You want to refer her. Like, we're all going to be doing like as many cross referrals as we possibly can imagine. And I'm just so grateful that like you're also being like honest and like, hey, this is where I want to grow. I want to make sure I can use my time really efficient. You also have a full-time job, which I think the majority of people in this round do have a full-time job. So like we want to make sure you're using your time effectively. And I found that with every single person that was sharing about their wins from the last round, it was all like they actually know what to do. They were like, we know what to do with our time. We know exactly what system to implement. If I don't have the system set up, I know like exactly where to look and what like things to do. So I think that's awesome. And I'm so excited to see how your business grows in the next 6 months. It's going to be great. Another thing that I want to add is we're going to get super vulnerable in here. Like, we are going to go through the celebrating the highest of highs and also some low lows. You're here because you want help growing your business. And we want to, everything that's said in this container is confidential. So if I find like, which I know it never would, but for some reason, if I find out that like information that is shared here, because we're all like obviously wanting to grow our business in a way that doesn't serve somebody that's it's ever shared at all, even if it's good, if it's bad, don't share stuff outside of this group. We are a group of 7. We're going to crush it. And if I find out, I will like contact you privately once, and then second time we're just gonna like cut ties with the mastermind. Let's be like, there might be another container if you would like to share your if you would like to share other people's things. This container is not for you. So this is, everything is confidential. People will cry, people will laugh, it's gonna be a lot, so just be ready for that. And I appreciate you sharing about like the timing thing, because I think it's really important. So thank you so much for going first. Who would like to go next? Okay, Demetria.
Yes, I will go next. So I'm round 2 and I'm excited to be here. I love the first round and the systems are great. I felt like I'm working full time, by the way, as well, for like 60 more days. So
Right? It's like so close.
yeah, I'm taking a leap, y'all. So there will be a lot of probably coaching, vulnerability on my part. Let me see if I can go in order. And Demetria, my business is Curate Your Life. I help women create the life that they want by eliminating stuff that they don't want and pulling in more stuff that they do want. I work on self-esteem, their environment, goals and their health. So just kind of general. Megan helped me establish the pillars of my business, which has been fantastic. So that's who I am and what I help. I decided to start my business because I had life coaching. I was in Corinne's group. It's been fantastic. I had a total mindset shift in my life and realized like what was possible, what I can do when I manage my mind and really step into belief. So that's why I started coaching. I joined this group last time and this time just for the support, for the systems, some of which I had in place, but some others that I did not have in place. And it's been fantastic. The support's been fantastic. What I was going to say was I was in the last group. March was busy for me. So I didn't feel disconnected. I didn't feel like I participated as much as I wanted to. So I'm very happy to be here. And y'all might think like for the first couple of months, said, well, she's not participating this time, but I will be going along if I'm not on the call for the next couple of months. And then, yeah, I'm so going all in and taking a big leap and making this happen. So
I love that. And I want to add that Demetria is also like super organized with me, loves a good spreadsheet. And you also have a journal coming out for people sued. So like I'm going to be posting I would love to have like a video like this, like Demetria did in the first round. And I'll like show you guys what that looks like. But within that, just so that people know you when I like promote you on my page, if you could do a video or just like something explaining about like what you do and things like that, that's what this video is also going to be used for. Lots of posts, y'all. But what I also wanted to add is that there is zero judgment for the level of participation that people are going to be doing in this group. There are going to be times when we are going to be present. There are times when we are going to have life happening. And no matter what capacity you are able to participate in this group, you are always valued and welcomed, like always. So no one's judging it. It's like, we're going to like, as human beings, sometimes we judge, but we are going to try and keep it as like a judgment-free, supportive environment. So for anyone that's watching this, if you're not able to come to the calls live, that's okay too. And you can participate in any capacity that you want. And this is what this formally is called the Business Fulfillment Mastermind. And so there's going to be like, I'll do posts like this so that you can see that. And then this is Demetria's video. And then I also will have like favorite songs featured on here because I want this to feel like you within my feed. I want it to, and then if I also have people who are interested in working with you, I can send them your stuff. So love that, Demetria. Thank you for hitting on a couple of things. And the last thing that I just don't want to forget is that you are all going to be invited to a one-on-one session within the next week or two, like within this first month. If you can book that, we're going to talk about pillars. We're going to talk about all of that next week, but that is going to be like the next level of this bad boy. So awesome. Thank you, Demetria. I appreciate it. It's between Vidya and Talia. Ladies, who wants to go next? You can fight over it. Arm wrestle.
I can go next. My name is Talia Lauren, and I would say my first opportunity for growth is clarifying the answer to the first question. So I can tell you, what I'm excited about, and that's having overcome all of my own limiting beliefs to start my own business and become financially independent after like years of struggling with that. And currently I work as a lawyer doing family law, and I have my own firm. And I am also making the commitment to like go both feet into coaching and move away from that as we speak. And so I think my niche is going to be some form of like women, money, and entrepreneurship. And so I'll get that polished up as soon as possible. why did I decide to start my business? I think why I decided to start my own business initially, which was a law firm, was because I just like I'm like constitutionally incapable of being an employee. I just can't do it. I was like notorious for changing jobs, looking for the thing that was going to fulfill me. And I think I realized several years ago that I just don't want anyone to tell me what to do ever. I just can't. And so entrepreneurship is for me. And I also really like just the possibility. There's just like no ceiling to what we can accomplish when we are on our own and making our own decisions. What made me decide to join? Synchronicity. I was thinking last Friday about, just kind of brainstorming about how to grow my coaching business, and feeling excited about business. And I know how important systems are in business. So I was thinking like, maybe I would teach people that.
Mhm.
That's something I've put a lot of focus on in my law firm, in my small law firm, solo. I have no employees, so I do everything myself. And I was thinking about when I grow from one-on-one, I've never joined a mastermind, and thinking like, I really should probably join a group so I can experience that before I start my own group. And that got overwhelming. So I picked up my phone and opened Instagram to do a little numbing. And the first thing I saw was a post from Megan on this mastermind, and it was the last day to join. And I was like, okay, that seems right. And then as I went through the process, I realized that the reason I'm interested in systems is because I really don't have mine dialed, and that's something I need to work on. So it's not time for me to be teaching that. It's time for me to be learning that. So I'm really excited to be here for that, and just to be surrounded by other women who are on the same path. And what am I most excited about learning? I think I've probably already covered that, but I'll just say like, I'm really, really excited to jump into my coaching business, get clear on that, and move forward through the fear.
Yes. There's going to be a lot of, I think you said nerve-sighted, like in our consult, like nervous, excited energy. And we're
Mhm.
just gonna like breathe through that and support each other, because I think we are all in that place, like of like, well, I think like I've done a couple things, so it's like I'm not as nerve-sighted, but I'm still so excited for this next round. I feel like everyone in this group is so, like, I wouldn't invite you if you weren't like positive, and positive doesn't mean that you feel good all the time. It doesn't mean that you are happy all the time, but at least wanting to make a positive difference in the world. And of course, like struggling through that as we all do. And I'm so excited to help you clarify what your business is like gonna look like in our one-on-one session, because I think that's why I do that at the beginning, is just to make sure everyone's dialed in, you know exactly what you're offering, and then you're going to be able to go out there and kick ass and find clients. I also
That's
curse,
great.
so get ready if you've got children around. I will like try and keep it like, if so, message me privately and be like, hey, can you like censor yourself? I used to be a teacher. I can do it. I can like so awesome. Thank you so much. I'm so excited for you to be in this round. And finally, we have Vindhya. So go ahead and share.
Hi everyone. I'm a little nervous now, but
Yeah,
um,
I was like, so sorry.
my name is Vindhya. I'm an independent journalist based in Toronto. So I think I'm the only person here who's based outside of the US. So my business kind of started accidentally. I was let go from my previous job last February. And then I decided just to take that opportunity to work with Megan and then jump full time into freelance writing. And that kind of very quickly blossomed into a full-time business, kind of unexpectedly, but it was also very exciting. So now that I'm in my second year of doing independent journalism, I'm kind of looking to get my systems more organized this time around, and not, you know, like have a little bit more of a community too that I can lean on for support and learn from as well. And as for why I decided to start my business, it was kind of accidental, but it had always been a dream of mine to kind of freelance, and also have a flexible schedule. It just kind of happened a lot sooner than I thought it would. What made me decide to join? I think mainly for the community. That's something Megan and I have talked about, community and kind of a system for accountability as well. And what am I most excited about learning? As a journalist, I'm always learning. My job is, having my brain on 24/7. So I'm most excited to learn from a group of ambitious women as well and how they run their own businesses.
Which is so awesome. And I actually think that Jess is the other one, but you and Jess I don't think have been a part of group coaching programs previously. So like
Mhm.
a lot of other people in this, they've been surrounded by like at least a couple of other entrepreneurs, but like I would y'all, Vinia did not have any other entrepreneurs that you were like friends with at the time, or like just so like a lot of times we just need to normalize the struggles that we go through as entrepreneurs, and the more vulnerable and upfront we can be about the situations that we're experiencing, the faster we can grow. And if anyone watches me get coached, like y'all, it's just like I essentially like word vomit and I'm like, here's everything that's a problem, please fix it. Like it's just like a lot of just like me like just getting it all out there. And I think that we just all need to like normalize being an entrepreneur is not a typical career path yet. I would love to like change that for the world because I think it's important, but I also think that like we're all going to struggle, and sharing about it is just going to make us so much more powerful as a unit moving forward. Like I like to think about this as like we are a family, we are a community, and we are going to show the fuck up and like change the world. It's going to be awesome. So this is where we are at with within the parameters of the style of coaching that we're going to do. I am going to provide time for you guys to step into more of a CEO role. And I want you to think about like how you are showing up. And a lot of us don't think about ourselves as CEOs, as solopreneurs. But I want you to really step into this like energy that like I'm a CEO. I'm showing up this next 6 months. I'm going to make it the most like a very pivotal piece of my business as a whole. And so, with that being said, I want you to think about like showing up to these calls with like whatever. I know it sounds like kind of crazy, but like when you are like wearing clothes, when you are like ready to go, it kind of creates this other kind of energy like, oh, I am showing up for my business, I'm showing up for my life in this mastermind with CEO energy. And so, with that being said, if you have to, these are 2-hour calls. I might provide small amounts for bathroom breaks and things like that. But I personally would love to have everyone with their cameras on because it can create a lot of it. I feel like it creates momentum and it creates focus for people. I know when I don't have my camera on, it probably means I'm doing something else, and we're going to have plenty of time for doing other things. But for this round, for any round, I would like for you guys to be dialed in, focused, and ready. Now, when I am participating in other masterminds, I think a reason why I've been able to grow so quickly is I like to think of every single person, even if their problem is not necessarily like something that I could specifically relate to in the moment, I still take notes on it like I'm getting coached. And I try and find a way that it's relatable to me. And then the coaching that's received, finding a way it's relatable to me. I will do my best because all of us are in different places in our business to make sure that you don't use my coaching for someone else against yourself. So if I'm like, nobody else listen to this, but Vindia, you need to do this. And I'll be very clear that like this is not for you. If this doesn't make sense based on everything else that I've talked to you about, I will be very clear that that's like not coaching for you. And at that point, you can just like think about why I'm giving her that coaching. I just have a separate Google Doc up, and I'm a part of a mastermind myself. And within that program, I take diligent notes every single week. I show up ready ready to roll. And like each live call, I've been a part of this mastermind for now 3 rounds. As you can see, I take really, really diligent notes. This week, you're going to learn about thought work. And it's, if you've never done thought work or coached yourself before, you're going to learn how I would like for you to clean out your mind every day for the rest of the mastermind. And there is a template for that that's available. But what I do in my own self-coaching is I have my April thought work document. And at the top of it, I want you to use whatever I'm talking about to serve you. So if it's, these are all, I've been coached in this mastermind one time by Stacy in 3 rounds. I've paid her 100K and I've been coached by her 1 round. But this ensures that every single time when I show up, these thoughts are worth 200K and beyond for me. And it's like, no one launch will make or break me. It doesn't matter what happens on this call. Like any thought that I say that serves you, I make a list. This list is now 22 pages long because it's work. Like I'm like every single call, I want to make sure that I'm showing up and getting 25K worth of value because that's how much my mastermind day is. So I want you to show up and make 3K in just thoughts every single time you come on. And that's why, like, look, y'all, look at this. Every single time as I take notes of what someone else is getting coached on, like I'll like take notes and I'll be like posting in a bunch of different spaces. Like, I love you guys, like selling to a cold audience. If it happens for a warm audience, it'll already be in your sphere. Like, I just like post like all of these things. And when it's really something that I feel like, oh my gosh, this is something I need to remember, I post it in my thought work document. Now, you should be asking yourself, Megan, what is a thought work document? And I'm going to make it so that every single time I post, it does not get posted in here because it's just excessive and cluttered and I don't like that. But what we're going to do is every week on the first start of the call, starting after this week, you are going to get at 10 o'clock the next week worth of modules to watch. These modules have videos.
So you're
They're
gonna like say,
pieces of here. This is like the first week that I had with our last group. It talks about like what the community will look like. And then I explain what thought work looks like. This is about 40 minutes long. And if you're asking yourself, how much time should I set aside to watch these videos? Guess what? You have a exact, because I'm a weirdo that likes to schedule like things to the T in my calendar. And that's what I want to have for you too. So for the, these are called the setup systems. It's about an hour worth of videos to watch. And these are the documents that are included. Every single one of you has a separate progress tracker. So all of you guys are going to have this spreadsheet in, thank you for asking, your progress tracker. So you've got a form and a tracker. Within that, I want to see the things that, like within this program, you do not need to do every single thing, but I would like to see if you're doing the money back guarantee. I want to see the dates that you're completing things so I can follow along with you and be like, okay, like here's something I think could be helpful, and a link to the system. So it's obviously like if it's bolded like this, it's a video, there is no link. But within the additional systems, let's say you watch this maybe on Thursday, and then you have your thought work document, you would post a picture of this, or you would post this document here like that. And I actually have a video explaining how to include a link in a spreadsheet. If you don't know how to do that already, use copy and paste this Google document into a spreadsheet. So if you're going for the money back guarantee, I would love to see this. If you are not going for the money back guarantee, then this is just for you. So just to keep track of things for you and make sure that you also know how long to expect for things. I also realized with the last round of the group, I was really ambitious and I felt like we did 30 minutes of me teaching a lesson, 30-ish, it's like sometimes 40. 30 minutes of application and an hour of coaching would be plenty of time. And again, we're learning and growing together. I'm going to share all the mistakes that I made with you so you can grow and learn and like change the things that you do. But I realized that like things like creating your offer, having like all these charts, like, I mean, there's a lot, writing just these emails, even though you're just copying and pasting it, usually takes more than an hour for sure. So I included in this round an hour separate. We're going to vote on the times, and that will be coming in the post that is coming up next of what time each week works for the majority of the people. We're going to have 1 hour where you guys will I will have my Zoom up. It is going to be silent, video off, camera off, because a lot of us are going to be like, you could be batching content in that time. You could be writing your emails in that time. And that is going to be your time for application. So there's not going to be application prior to the call, or there can be application prior to the call and anytime you need it. But that is what's going to happen during that's a time for you that I tried to set aside. Some of these are going to take longer than an hour, but that's why we have 6 months together. And I tallied all of this up, and all of these systems, all the videos at least, are only 6 hours over the next 6 months. These are the essential systems. So these are the most, like, what I felt like if you walk away and you watch 6 hours of content, you have a basis for every single thing that you need to do in your business, in my opinion, the essentials. There are also additional systems. So there is like annual planning, financial tracking, projections. These are not mandatory, but I would still, like, if you need help with them, they're very important. And then there's also bonus systems. So like for me to SEO optimize, which is search engine optimize my website, this in and of itself, I spent $3,000 on, like literally like $3,000 with Sydney. I also, with my accountant, this video, it cost me about like $26,000 in taxes that I was not prepared to pay in January and December of this year. These are just really, really helpful. You do not need to do them. They're not a mandatory part of this, like not mandatory, none of it's mandatory, but like for the money back guarantee, the only things that I need you to do are the essentials and the setup systems. Other than that, this is all like wonderful just additions that you can have. Now, if the majority of you guys, like it was like half and half, pay in full and payment plan, there is going to be, if you did the payment plan, you're going to get access to each of the modules every week. So each week you're going to get access to a new module, and I'm going to start with the 6 essentials, and then we'll make our way to the additional systems, which are like the financial tracker and these things. So these will be released first week 1, or sorry, this is actually week 1. Week 1, then week 2, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6, week 7. So by July, you will have every system. By June, you should have every single system that is essential to your business ready. Then in July, I will be releasing these once a week, and then I will release 1 bonus a week as that will go. The last thing that I want you guys to do is every week, all of you have an individualized progress form. This is what I do in my own business. These are the things that I was like, if I were to start my business tomorrow, this is the most important stuff that I do every week. And so you're going to start off this week with a system already, which is my goal, is for you guys to have that. Every week, what I do is I have this weekly evaluation form. I fill it out every single week. And these are the questions some of the questions that I put in the form for you guys. You are going to have a form of your own. I'm going to ask you what week it is. I'm going to ask you what your 5 wins are of the week, because it takes 5 positive thoughts to replace every negative thought. So I want you to start with positivity. I also want you to list how much money you've made at this point. Every week, even if it's 0, I track my finances every single week. So you can see exactly how much money I've made. And there are some times when I have zero. We're also going to start tracking. You guys don't know what networking and outreaching are just yet, but you're going to learn about it. If you are using social media, you're going to learn how to post and things like that. And sometimes it's zero. If you are writing zero for the money, that's totally, it's normal. And that's another thing about like, if you're not surrounded by entrepreneurs, you might not know that businesses go in cycles. So you might be like, I'm making like half the amount of money I was, or no money this week. Normal, but we still need to track it. Then we're going to go through each of the 6 pillars, the big pillars, managing the back end of this business, and you're going to rank it. Fun fact, when we all did our consult, minus Demetria, because you didn't do a consult for this round, but you are going to have a baseline for where you were, and then each pillar that you guys ranked in the consult will also be reflected in here. And also, if there's anything else you'd like to tell me, this is a space for you to do that every single week. And during that accountability time, the co-working hour that we decide on collectively, I'm going to go through and read these. And I'm going to make sure that like, if you want to send me a private message, this is a great place for you to do that. But there are going to be like things that you don't mind sharing publicly. So that's going to be in the stream. That's where you're going to be able to share the stream. You're going to have, this is again, sorry, this is a lot of like setup stuff. And that's what this first call is about. But if you have any questions, if you want feedback on anything that you're doing, if you're writing an email to collaborate with somebody and you want my feedback on it, anytime, 24-hour access, you have access to this. I am vowing that I'll respond to you in 24 to 48 hours with like on business days, so not over the weekend. So if like I will check this, I will make sure I will respond in 24 hours, and I have time set aside in my schedule for that. So with that being said, each time that we go for a typical coaching call, this is again the setup call, this is the intro, but we're going to start every call with everyone filling out this progress form for the first like 10 minutes. I want you to have time to like really step into CEO energy the second that you get on this call. Every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern, you're going to be like, I'm a CEO. This is how I'm feeling. I'm going to be honest about how I feel. And you're going to submit that. The other thing that nobody has access to just yet is after this first week, you guys are going to submit this, and then I'm going to have a spreadsheet for your responses. I wanted to make sure, and this is an example of somebody from the last round that I was going to name. I thought I made it anonymous, but each week is listed and it's in numerical order. And then the wins, money. And there's also going to be a spreadsheet to track the money earned through this. So I could see and I could be like, oh, this is how our business is growing. I can track that, and I can actually see and watch her business grow every week, how she felt about these things. This is for the last round, it's different, but I wanted, and I think I showed the majority of you guys this, like I want to have a baseline for where you're at with the consult, and I want to make sure that you are on the track of growth. As you learn more, your 1 and a 10, your scale might change, but I still want to make sure that you are on a track upward as you grow. So that was a lot of information. I know. That's why this was recorded. So you can come back to it if you need. I would love for us to take about 5 minutes for questions. Take the next 10 minutes for you to fill out your first progress form, week 1. Let's fucking go. And then we will get into an hour of coaching. It's not a full hour and a half as promised this week, but any questions? That was a lot. No such thing as a stupid question. Also, and if you feel funky, this being like our first call, post it in the stream, y'all. Post it in the stream. If you want to if you have something separate, obviously post it here.
I have a curiosity question, Megan. I love I love all of this. My question is, for these forms, do they automatically fill these spreadsheets that you have?
Great
Or
question.
do you have to manually do this?
Automatically. And that's why you have to fill out the first one for me to generate a spreadsheet for it. So I can create this graph for you. But the other thing, this one does not automatically generate, which is sad. So this one will have to be done by hand. But we can talk about, like, when we talk about financial tracking, which will be week 7 or 8, I'm going to show you how I do this weekly. And then you can start to, like, maybe go into your form yourself or start a different financial tracking spreadsheet for yourself.
Okay. Is like setting the stuff up so like we could create our own forms for this sort of thing? Is that going to be covered in this?
Yes,
'Cause
of
I love
course.
that.
That's actually,
Okay.
and for your own clients, that's actually week 3, I think. Is a
Oh, that makes sense.
yeah. So I'm
Delivery or
going to show
whatever.
you. Yeah, it'll be delivery. So the delivery week, which yeah, it'll probably be. Actually, no, it's going to come this week, this upcoming week, because you guys are going to be making your offer. So the how to track client results is going to be here. These are the feedback prompts. There's going to be a daily tracker, a weekly tracker, and then how to actually like make a Google spreadsheet and charts, because I know that's not like, I don't want you to have to worry about Googling that. Like I made a quick video. It was like 3 minutes, like where I was like, this is for y'all. If you've never used a spreadsheet in your life, this is like the most basic example. And then also how to make a form if you want to have your clients do a form instead of you manually filling it in with them.
Sweet. Thank you.
Of course. Any other questions? All right. Well, then let's take still the next 13 minutes if you guys have questions. Also, get a bathroom break if you need it, get some water. Now that you know, I might take a bathroom break every once in a while, but usually I try and like go straight through the 2 hours to make the most of your time. So let's meet back up here at 11 a.m. Eastern. It's in 12 minutes. I'll start a timer. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that you guys can just focus on what you need to focus on. The timer will be in the top, I think, right corner, and I will play some fun music that we are going to create a fun Spotify playlist for. So all the good things. If you are having trouble getting into the classroom itself, chat. Go in the chat and I will check it as we go. On your mark, get set. So you got 12 minutes. Let's do it. This is when you can turn off your cameras if you want. I have to leave mine up because the timer won't show up. Yes, Andrea, that is totally fine. And I will, if you have any coaching questions, the chat is the perfect, or the stream is the perfect place to put them. If you need some coaching before next week, I got you. Oh, and also if you want to do that like 1 minute long before video, so I can start posting your stuff on my stream, text me the video and a headshot. I'll have that in the first meeting information there. 5-minute warning. Go ahead, finish up your call, your forms. I'm gonna run to the restroom quickly. 3-ish minutes left. All right, 1-ish minute to finish up. All right, guys. Time is up. Let's get to some coaching. Really quickly, before that, I had a couple of things I wanted to just add as I filled out your. So each week I will post a recap. I will have a. I was like, that is not what I wanted to play next. Usually you won't have time like that during our call. That is why we have the accountability time, but we will still have the time for the weekly form every week. So that's how we'll start the call. First 10 minutes from as people join, weekly call, weekly form, and then we're going to get started from there. Here are the updates that I'm posting in our group. So you'll see them shortly. And by shortly, I mean like right now. I'm going to post them. Oh man, it's not letting me do these as numbers. I think I can do it as numbers. Also, I would love to know the accountability time. We're not going to do accountability time this week, and it won't always be a thing that happens every week if I'm out of town or something like that, but it is something I wanted to offer to you guys. So just as an extra time, and I'll try and have someone available to do that. So there are, just like I said before, message me your intro video about who you help, what your business is, and why you decided to start your business, and what made you decide to join / what are you most excited about learning. Literally what you just shared. would be awesome. If you don't feel like being that vulnerable with the people of my Instagram, then feel free to like just be like, I'm excited to be a part of this group. It'll be great. Like, it's like it doesn't necessarily need to be something vulnerable because they also don't share the confidentiality that we have. And then when you send them, I'm gonna post them here so that you guys can get to know people who can't be on the calls live. Accountability time. This would be AM. Just to clarify, I was like, within the accountability time, I have an early morning Monday at 9. This is a special like late night Monday. I was thinking that if the late night seems to be more popular, we do have people on multiple different coasts and things like that. So if that works for you guys, go ahead and vote on that by Friday at 12. So I can set up that call on Zoom once a week to be reoccurring. And again, if it changes, I will let you know the week before in advance.
What's the best way to vote, Megan? Is it just like in
Yes,
a
and
comment?
great question. Vote in the comments.
Okay.
So then when you do the comment, you'll see like here, you can add a class comment and be like Monday at 8 p.m. Perfect time for me. So that would be that. The call, I will rarely do this last minute, but I thought I had booked a flight for the mastermind that I'm a part of. We have a meeting in 2 weeks in Louisville. The flight filled up. And I looked back and the morning flight so that I could be back in time for our call is no longer available. So this is the only call that is going to be moving for the entire 26 weeks. And that's going to be from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern. And I'm posting this in here so you can feel free to put that in your calendars. I also will change it in Acuity. So this call on the 18th, tax day, apparently, is going to be here. Just so you guys will see that. And you'll get an email saying this call has changed. The next thing, make your own ThoughtWork document, just like mine, and put it in your progress tracker if you are, again, looking for that money back guarantee. Fill out your weekly form for everyone who is not on this call, at least by Thursday, because I have a set time in my calendar to check group work. And I want to make sure that if you put something on your form, especially about like anything else you'd like to tell me, I have it and I can check it. So like, and what I would do if I were you is I would put if you aren't able to attend the calls live, make sure that you put that in your calendar so you just like don't forget to do it. Then you guys are all going to get a one-on-one session. So your link to apply for that is here. And I left this, the reason why we're not going to do accountability time this week is because there's going to be a bunch of you guys booking one-on-one calls. So that's why that isn't going to be happening this week. You're going to have to make your own hour to look through the videos and the modules that I sent, and we'll review it next week. And then comment with your favorite Hype Up song. So as you vote, also comment with your favorite Hype Up song. And I'll just put these together. So you guys like, I'll say also. Are there any questions about this? Again, apologies for this last night call. Don't know what I was thinking. I was like, I literally thought it was filled up, like I had purchased the flight and now it is full. So that will rarely happen. I will be out of town for 1 week in May, but I have a guest that you guys are going to love. Renee is going to come for you guys for that week. And if I'm ever, another thing is that if I'm ever sick, if there's ever a time when I am not able to come for some very rare reason that like, I usually I'll show up for this group if I'm like, even if I'm in dire straits, which I again want to respect your time and make sure that like I never change it, but I will have other coaches in that case, rare case, I will have another coach come on and work with you. or it might just have to be a co-working time. Like if there's like again, extreme emergency. Today's 4/4. What am I thinking? Okay. With that all being said, all the updates again, if you need to watch it back, that's why we record this. Let's get started with the coaching, and I will post this just like I did for the last mastermind. I will post this in our stream, and it'll just be a different, these are all the people from last round, and it'll say coaching calls, and it'll have the date, and then it should be in chronological order. How we feeling? Guys ready? I'll close out all these tabs just to make sure that I am actually, see the flights. I was like very concerned. Okay, so who wants some coaching? First one, let's do it. Anyone feeling brave? Also, just a forewarning, we have a dog and 2 cats, and our dog knows how to open doors. So the only reason why we'll see my pets in the background is because we have not figured out a way to stop the door, because it's like a push. So you might see Jackson. Fitzgerald is the tabby, and the orange cat is Franklin. So if you see them perusing in the background, it is to maintain the highest professionalism, but also I am human and we have pets, and maybe one day we'll figure out how to keep Jackson from the office. Until then, the door will be open to wildlife in our home.
I also have a dog, and I actually just bribed her to come back to my office during our break because I like it when she's in here with me. So
It's nice. It's nice to have him. They will usually napping at this hour, but at like the 2 o'clock time, I don't know, it's like witching hour for them. So usually they'll be fine for this call. Not always. And just letting you know.
that's a disclaimer I give my clients too. Like, I'm a dog person.
Like, this is just how it's gonna be until I
Yeah.
figure it out, and it's gonna be good. All right.
Well, I can jump
Go
in for
first?
some coaching if no one else has like a burning desire.
Do it.
So I was thinking maybe we could just talk about my niche drama.
Niche drama. So for anyone also who is watching this, who is not familiar with coaching terms, I will occasionally pause and like define. Niche is like a specialized group of people that you are focusing on. There's also people who have general niches, but we want to kind of like create this, like, at least a person who your business would be a good fit for, an ideal client, if you will. And that is what niching is good for. So tell me about your niche in drama.
Well, it's gotten better. I've had, like, since I started as a general life coach because I didn't know. Actually, that's not true. I should be honest. I've always wanted to do business, but I had imposter syndrome when I first started coaching, and I didn't think I could. And I actually went back to being a lawyer and ran my own firm for another year, and then remembered that running a law firm is a business. And kind of got over that. So I really want to do business. And so that helps, but I still like have a little bit of trouble articulating like exactly like who I want to help, what stage. And I think honestly, the thing that is sort of tripping me up now is I'm realizing like I've done, like, money seems so huge to me. Like, I've done so much work on money. I'm like, oh my gosh, that was like core wound. Like, that was everything for me, was my money stuff, like in business. So do I actually want to do I want to focus on money specifically, like money mindset, that sort of thing? Or do I want to be more general? Like, would I want to teach systems at some point, And so I think that's where I'm feeling a little bit confused, is like business is still like pretty big. So how do I more clearly articulate how I can help people?
Yes. And I want to, when I'm coaching people, you'll see me taking notes. Taking notes exactly like this is exactly what I do on like the my mastermind calls. So feel free to do that. But I also, sometimes I'll go for like actions I think you should take. Other times I'll go for thoughts. So you're just the first person who's getting coached. So I want to clarify that. So
Sounds good.
what I would love for you to do is there is money, business, general. Those are the three that you're kind of between, right?
I'm not, I've
Not-
eliminated general.
Okay, great. Okay, so we've got
Yeah, yeah.
money and we've got business.
Mhm.
Now, I want you to, if we're thinking about choosing between these two, guess what? We're going to do reasons why and why not. And I'm going to be able to hear your thoughts about like why you would choose each of these. And then once you choose, there's probably going to be a lot of mindset drama that comes up. And that's okay. Like expected. And when we
Mhm.
go on one time when we talk about offers and things like that, I will definitely cover what like kind of the ways to talk more specifically. I might even get into that today. But I want to know like what are the things that are calling you to money? Why is that like something that you feel like you said it's a core wound?
Yeah, yeah. It was like I had, I mean, I struggled with like a pattern of being financially dependent on partners like for 40 years. And I'm a lawyer. Like I like could not make my own money as a lawyer. And that's where like that's a perfect example of like I'm just going to change my circumstances until things get fixed. And I went like all the way through law school changing circumstances and like didn't fix my problem until I addressed my like story around money. So it was just so big, and I see how much it affected. Like I think it's a big part of I'm divorced. Like I think it's a big part of the reason I'm divorced. It's cost a ton of like conflict in my current relationship. And so it's just one of those things where if you in my experience addressing that just makes like such a huge impact on the rest of my life. It's made such a huge like it's improved my relationships, it's improved my self-esteem, you know, like everything. And I don't really think that's about money. I think it's just one of those topics that once you learn how to have a healthy relationship with money, it can like improve your ability to have a healthy relationship with yourself and with other people and the world around you. So it's just like I read a book that said it's like a I can't pronounce that word, like a psychological test where you see everything in money.
Yeah, or
The ink blot.
plots. Yes, I was like, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah,
Ink blot.
it's like don't judge our pronunciation. We're not
Yeah.
just judgmental crap. So it's
Yeah.
like I want you to imagine for both of these things, whatever you sell is going to work. So there's no right niche. There's just choose to make right.
I gotta write that down.
Business. There's no right anything. There's just the one that
Right.
is in the moment to make right. So whether you're reaching out to editors, whether you are like going out to a specific group to do networking or things like that, you want to make sure that you are like, this is the right one because I'm choosing it right now. Your ability to choose and decide quickly is going to be and for everybody, it's going to be the thing that's going to take your business to the next level. And with this, I want you to think about if both of them could work, right? That's why I'm trying to get you to like this place of like thinking about the reasons why and why not. We're going to address it. Both of them you could like have aspects of each within the program too.
Right.
Have business and one of your pillars is money. You could have money and one of your pillars is business. Right? Like a way that you can think about it. It doesn't, and I want to offer to everybody that the offer that you choose for the next 6 months is not the offer that you die with this business. It is interchangeable. I went from general. I actually was coaching kids first, then to general, then to career, now to business. It's the skill of understanding how to build a business and offer something. The skill of offering something is transferable throughout literally anything. Like, even if you're like, okay, what I'm learning in this mastermind can help me with dating, or like it can help me like in other aspects of your life, it's gonna help you. So these are some great reasons why. Give me a couple of reasons why not money.
I think the thing, so I'm having body feelings of like, I'm like, she's gonna make me choose. And my body doesn't like that. So like, I think I have a fear, like I have a fear of commitment. I'm like, what if I think that this is a theme in my life. Like there's so many interesting things in the world. What if I get interested in something else? And you just address that. Like what if I change my mind? What if I get bored? Boredom is like kryptonite for me.
I need to answer that. What if I change my mind or get bored? What are you gonna do after the next 6 months? What could you do?
Do something different.
You could change it. Like,
Yeah,
so this is like a thought error that I'm like, okay, well, if you do, it's like we could always change it. We could always change it.
that's
No.
yeah, that's definitely a limiting belief. Like a story I have about myself is that like the reason I'm not more successful now is because I've changed my mind too many times.
Interesting.
So
Okay, so that is something we'll keep an eye out for in the future. It's like success linked to consistency
mhm.
versus success linked to like, you know, first off, what is success? Like is success
Mhm.
consistency? If someone's changed their mind a lot, like me in the past 2 to 3 years, it's like, does that make me less successful? Is it money? What is like what is success? We're gonna start defining that for everybody. Like, is success money? Is success clients? What is success for you?
For me, are you asking that?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
If you're taking the diligent notes you are, define it for yourself. Like, take a minute and be like, what is success for me?
So I think for me, I think that's something that does feel a little unclear. Like I've always said money, and this is part of my money limiting beliefs, is like I haven't had money. And so um like having money would equal success for me. And I still think that that is at least in part true because they always say money can't buy happiness, but like if you are worried about like paying your mortgage, like the money that would pay your mortgage like will help you, that like you will be able to feel happy if you feel secure, right? So there's like a certain threshold of money that I think definitely contributes to success for me. Like it's also freedom is super important to me, but I don't want freedom without security.
Oh, for sure. Okay, so we've got a lot of different layers here. And what happens is, I know that you started saying that like I've switched the circumstance. It's like when you're talking about the lawyer firm, it's like we switched circumstance to create the feeling like a couple of times. So I want you to create without the money circumstance. I want you to learn how to create security without the circumstance being there. So being like, okay, how can I self-sufficiently create security for myself? And this goes for everybody. We want to create security because like the mental security, like I am safe here, I am okay at this level, will keep you from moving to the next benchmark and the next benchmark and always looking for something else. That's another reason why we define success, because we're like, okay, how much money would create that security for me? Is there a number that I'm looking for? If I'm looking for a number, how do I think I would feel and act and think if I had the amount of money I had? Practicing that now without it, like for me, I'm always like, if I start to notice like myself getting into, I think the opposite of security for me personally is the feeling of scarcity.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like feeling scarce, desperate. Like y'all know that feeling when you're like, fuck, it's like, oh my God, I need money. And you're like, oh my God, it's like, and that feeling of like scarcity. We want to keep ourselves out of that as much as possible. And if you can practice the feeling of security without the circumstance, it's called mental rehearsal. And so I want you to like every time ground yourself, like it's like you notice you're getting into scarcity, you're gonna get to be more aware. You're already pretty aware of think of like how you're feeling. But if you can start listening to that feeling, being like, what is going on? Let me get back into a little security and safety within myself, and then problem solve from that place instead of problem solving from the other place. Like I do not have a like $1 million business, but I always like would be like, what would $1 million me say? Like if I was like in that state, how could I get into that level of security and think about that future version of me potentially and move forward? That was a lot of things. How does that land?
I mean, for me, that's like spot on. That's what I've been. I think that's like the like key turning point for me in being able to get through my like debilitating scarcity is like learning how to like create that feeling of security like in a moment.
Yes. And so if you already, and the great news is if you have that skill in one area, like, then guess what? It's transferable. That's like literally everything that we're talking about here is like, it's all transferable. So you know how to do that. You can teach other people how to do that. And I just want you to make sure that like, this is not, because it's almost like, what if I change my mind? What if? And what it seems like there's scarcity of potentially time that could also be in here. Like, okay, it's not having fast enough. It's not like that kind of a thing. And we want to make sure that like you're not making business decisions based on making your business decisions based on scarcity.
Yeah.
Why is this not letting me? My enter button is broken. That's interesting. Well, that's going to be problematic, and that's okay. I will figure that out by the next call. And my delete button. That's interesting. Fancy little
it-
of mine.
Is it battery? Did the battery die?
We shall plug it in and find out. Okay, so we don't want to create a business decision from scarcity. So from a like not like a secure place, because you've been able to create that for money in the past. Tell me what are, no, it's working. It was not charging. What are your reasons why you would want to do business coaching?
I love like ideas. I love talking about ideas with people, and that's why it's so funny to me that like I've always wanted to start a business and I've had trouble because of like I don't want to focus, and that's what like makes me really excited about helping other people with their businesses is because then I get to like see all of their ideas and watch them grow and like have abundant ideas vicariously through other people. So that's super exciting to me. And I love being creative. I love other people's creativity. I love seeing what people are capable of when they believe in themselves. It's just like such a beautiful canvas for like the things that humans can accomplish. And I think that's awesome.
Amazing. Why not? Same reasons?
No. I feel less like that's interesting. I don't feel, especially when you say like I can make money a pillar of business, that makes me feel better about that one. The thing, and there's like lots of different directions. I think that the thing, it's probably my imposter syndrome that makes me not want to choose business because my business isn't where I want it to be. But I guess I only need to be a step or two ahead of my clients to be helpful.
Yeah, to be a step ahead. If so, I also want you to think about, for everybody, when we're thinking about something called positioning, which just means that like it's your position in, like, if you were to put yourself in a group of people, what makes you different with money and business? It sounds like you have experience in both of these areas. So as you're choosing kind of what you want to talk about for the next 6 months at the minimum, is having like that, like a role of like of expertise. I don't like the word authority because it just sounds like punitive, but like the role of like someone that is kind of like stepping into this role. Where could I drop you in a bunch of people and you feel like you could talk to people about things as an expert easily?
I do think both.
Okay,
I
great.
think, yeah, but I think I get more. I think the thing I'm realizing is that I really only want to talk money in the context of entrepreneurship. And so making it a component of that, making money inside business rather than business inside money makes more sense to me. Because that does feel like as I think about like talking money with people like who have a full-time job and want to stay there, I think that's great. Entrepreneurship is definitely not for everyone, but I think I would feel like I'd constantly be like, okay, so what business do you want to start? Like that would be,
Oh, yeah.
so.
I like constantly am like, let's talk about business also.
Yeah.
With my one-on-one clients that like don't necessarily hire me for that. I'm like, oh, but you could also have a business. And I feel like that'd be
Totally.
so.
Yeah.
I also I feel like so for you, what do you think is the choice for you? What would you like?
I think it's business. um and it's business, and I have to remind myself that I don't have to be an authority on things that I haven't learned myself yet. Like I have enough experience to share now, and not everyone will be my client. And as my business grows, my like expertise will grow.
Yes, bitch. I'm here for it. I think it sounds so good. Also, what is your favorite color? And it's a very random question when your brain is not right.
No, I know it. It's probably like turquoise.
Cool. Okay, so I'm just like highlighting for anyone who is watching back. First off, I want you to set aside 3 hours, which is just 7% of your like 40-hour work week. If you choose, which is not just a basis, but if you're not able to come live, having this up at least so you can listen to it. And I'm going to highlight in y'all's favorite colors the things that I would have put in my document at the very least. So, like for my thought work, what I would put at the top is like, I could have the positioning for both. Success is linked to consistency and security. So that's what we figured out with you. And then like success, money, and clients, we don't want to be making decisions from scarcity. We want to be making the security mental rehearsal, and then also explain this in a second. So for all of you, you're going to make a choice with your businesses. You're going to like make some sort of choice about what direction you want this business to go for the next 6 months. Again, it is a skill that can be transferable to any area. However, the reason why we want to make a choice is there's this awesome thing called your reticular activating system that, if you've heard of like being like, oh, it's like I just like manifesting is like a way of describing this thing in your brain that helps you to make like choose things in your sleep even that puts like pieces together. So your brain is an amazing problem solving tool that a lot of us use as a problem seeking tool. And if you are right, it's like we always are like at problem focus. If we can utilize it for a problem solving tool, it's great. And as you sleep, your brain will start to think about, okay, how could I talk about business? What do I have experience in? Okay, this could work for this. And oh, I could talk about this, and I could like have this as my area of expertise. If you're just going from idea to actuality, like that could be like what your business is all about. It's like I take your business, or it's like I take this idea for your business and I make it something tangible that you can actually like go out and create in the world. If that's where you feel like your area of expertise is, if I tell you that, your brain, when you get off this call, you're gonna be like, ooh, how could I talk about my ideas? Maybe it is idea to actuality. Maybe it's like that could be the name of my business. And like, do you see how like the wheels start turning even when you're not like consciously setting aside an hour to think about it? That's what I want you to do. And that's why it's harder to use your reticular activating system if you don't choose. The choice element gives you a direction that you can use your brain in while you like sleep. So it's to serve you. It is never to hurt you. And if you choose, you're like, hey, I don't want, and even like Demetria, I hope you can attest to, like, even if you have like a general niche, or like Vindy, if you're like just speaking to like a mass of writers and you're like, okay, I've got some sort of experience, like you can always change it. You can always like decide to like have something to talk about. But it's like even when with the general stuff, we want to choose things that can help you to use this to your advantage. Awesome. How is
That's
this
awesome.
feeling
Thank
for
you. It feels good, and now I'm recognizing my brain just like coming up with all of the like reasons why this is a terrible idea. So
what you do is
yeah.
you're gonna do what's called strategic pessimism. And we want to figure out what I was like, there we go. I knew I wanted to spell it right. So for anybody, if your brain is like, here are all the problems, this is how strategic pessimism is how you change your problem oriented brain to solution focus. So I want you to think about, like, just give me an example of one problem that your brain is bringing up for you right now that we can choose to make a solution for you.
Okay, I had I don't want to dominate all the time either, but if this is
It's okay.
okay. So this is actually exactly the decision I made a couple of weeks ago, and I shared it with a friend who then shared her own limiting beliefs with me and like told me that it was too expensive for people who are starting businesses. And I like recognized that in the moment, but my brain really, 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 really wants to believe that. Like I can't like have a premium one-on-one coaching package for people who want to start businesses because they won't be able to afford it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so within that, what, as a CEO, like stepping back into that like security, that state of like, okay, I'm the CEO. How would a CEO of your business solve the people who are saying it's too expensive?
It's funny, my brain is just like spinning on like finding other people to tell me something different, like continuing to look for, and that might be another problem is I like in another group, like we talked about market research for products, and I like find myself being like really confused between like what's opinion shopping and what's actually market research. So I did end up like making some changes. I think my CEO, like if I'm in CEO, if I'm in my suit, I just don't want to like take that. I don't want to be affected by that. I just want to like do what feels right to me, and just disregard the naysayers and like know that that's going to be part of it. The the more successful I become, like the louder people like that are going to be.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I just love that you are defining yourself as already successful because you already have that. So brain that like mentioned that you're not successful because of X, Y, and Z, you're already identifying as it. So that's great. And I'm doing like the single arrow as like, these are your CEO thoughts. The double arrow is going to be like my advice. And then also like, if anyone has anything to add, that's what this is all about. Mastermind, truly collaborating. And so within this, I want you to think about, sometimes it could be just finding other people to tell you different. It could be, instead of telling you something different, it could be like, okay, does anyone else have any ideas of now where it's just like, not like la 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 la, like bring out the naysayers. It's like, okay, that's interesting. Like, first off, if it's a friend, not a person who owns a business, you're gonna find, especially like I know Vindia, like we talked a lot about that. It's like if they do not have a business, then their opinions might actually be more harmful than helpful.
That's a problem. This one does have a business. She's like my business working accountability partner.
Okay, great. Okay, so she has experience. She's in the arena with you. And maybe you could be like, okay, so like that's interesting. Like, tell me why you think that. Give me like it's too expensive. And then also reaching out to other entrepreneurs and being like, does anyone else like find something different? Like, is anyone
Yeah.
else for me, I think that like the finding other people to tell you something different, it could actually be utilized for like specifically looking to solve this problem. So it's like there are two things that you could do, like looking for solutions, which I think is just a little bit of a different flavor to your CEO brain solving that. I also think that like there are times when people are going to give you business advice and there are times when they're not going to give you advice. And I would only ask for advice for things that you are feeling like open to multiple possibilities instead of asking for advice for something that you feel shaky about. It's like, I would say that like we want to ask advice from people we trust, from people and in y'all's case, like maybe an entrepreneur, not a family, not friends, not anything like that. And I want you to ask that advice to people that are people who are looking for something that you feel like flexible on, you know? Because I think that like you weren't really asking for advice, you were looking for validation.
Yes, that's right.
Instead of looking for validation in those, like literally, if you are asking for validation, say, I'm looking for just like you to bolster me up and like validate that this is like actually what I'm doing, instead of asking for a genuine opinion. Because I don't think you were, I think you were looking for.
Yeah. Well, I think that I wasn't looking for anything. I was just like talking about it and I could see her reaction. We talked about, and we've actually, just for the like good of the group, we've been all the way through this. We did talk about it being limiting beliefs, and like we ended up closing the loop on that because she said that she like never wants me to come to the conclusion that I should lower my price based on what she says. And so it ended up turning into a really like good conversation. And yet my brain is still like, that's data that you like, it's scary and you shouldn't do it. So anyway.
Amazing. And to make sure you just post it like it is. And your brain, like this is where we can choose to channel our brain into other useful areas. For me personally, I think that as someone's building a business, they've got a really good amount of money to invest. If they set up an LLC, they can get a business credit card. They can have a business bank account. The credit is like, it's like, so there are lots of opportunities for entrepreneurs. So if you ask me that question, I would give you a very different answer. And I would maybe like every time that your brain is like, I have a problem, like it's like I kind of like am thinking of like a problem within this, like be like, okay, how could I solve this for them? What could I do to make it easier for them? How could I, it's like great point, brain. It might be too expensive, something they're not used to investing in. This is something I'm going to get an objection on. And this is something I talk about in every post because I'm also a money coach. So it's like, I'm also going to be able to like, perfect. And this is an opportunity. every problem, like seeing problems as opportunities.
Yeah, that's good.
So again, this is like the skill that literally like, even if you are like in a car accident, your brain getting this problem to solution focused, regardless of whether it's even related to business or not, it's training your brain to become solution oriented, which is evolving past primitive programming and very difficult to do. And that's why we do it over time and in different areas so that we can grow as humans. So that was a lot. Also, Demetria said something beautiful in the chat that I think everyone should listen to, and say that like there were going to be critics and customers at every price point. Learning how to deal with it at this level just means that you are meant for an awesome business and ready to, as the successful business scales, you're going to be able to handle the waves better.
Really good. Thank you.
Of course. Is there, Vindia, do you have anything you would like to add? If anyone has anything that Talia could take with her that you want to post in the stream as you watch this back, feel free to post. Are you feeling good? Just give me a thumbs up if you're feeling good. If there's
I
anything
had
else.
I had a question. I think you were discussing money versus business earlier
Yeah.
in terms of niche. Is there, I don't know if this is a dumb question, but is there a difference?
Yeah.
Like,
Great question. And this is just so proving your point that this is a really good niche. So I think that she was thinking about like just doing general money help for like literally anybody who wants, if they're in personal debt and if they're in like going through a divorce, and that creates a new like stage of financial aspect. Like such a good question, and also I think a little validating for your niche. Also, there's no such thing as a dumb question or like asking any questions at all. Like you were like, can I ask a question? I'm like, always. You can always ask questions, always.
Yeah, I thank you for asking that. I appreciate that. I think that's kind of like one of the reasons why I chose business, is because I'm like, no, there isn't a difference for the people I want to help.
Yes. So you probably don't want to do, it's like, you probably don't want to do like money coaching for any like regular person off the street. You want to do it for people who want to start a business. So awesome. Badass. I know that, I think at the beginning it might take a lot of time for us to like get through, but there are gonna be times when people coach longer, times that people coach shorter. And if anyone has any other coaching, Demetria knows, like I will literally like go through and like if you have any questions at all, like if it's little stuff, if it's like big stuff, like I will respond to it. Or like if it's something that's like, oh my gosh, I need coaching on this, I can do written text coaching and that can help. So I'm hitting all the angles. Even if someone else wanted to get coaching, then they can totally get coaching. Speaking of which, Demetria and Vindia, any coaching that either of you need?
I think if it's okay, I'd like to ask a question, and maybe it's something someone else has dealt with, is as a person who's anxious all the time, Megan, I know we've talked about this, is like, and especially as a solopreneur, how do you know what that anxiety is tied to? Because it could be a multitude of things, right? It could be like your personal life. It could just be like the weather, like the weather's terrible here in Canada. It could be something to do with your business, but then it could be a certain aspect of your business that's bringing you anxiety. It could be like the clients, the work, yeah, hormones too.
Mhm.
So I think I just wanted to see if there's a way to tell which one it is.
So I think that like when we have like when our brains can get like really acutely anxious, it's because it's really good at problem identifying. So it's like your brain is really good at identifying the problems. And I would say that for me as a person who experiences anxiety, I have ADHD, as y'all will know, and have a predisposition to anxiety and depression. What I like to do is when I am feeling anxious, I like to first like feel it myself. It's like I'm like, okay, let me just like experience this feeling of anxiety. Like, because if you actually allow the anxiety to be there, your brain will it should only take 90 seconds to flow through. Now, as a person who has a habitual anxiety, for me, I had habitual anger. Shocking, I know, from like this chipper disposition, but y'all, I used to be a very angry lady, and it took like 10 minutes. So I would just start a like timer on my watch, and I'd be like, okay, it's gonna let myself feel anxious, and then let myself feel angry, and I would allow it to like float through like a bubble through my head, like, and just like allow it to like go through. And then once you allow the anxiety, this is my process, and we're going to hear from the other CEOs what they think. But then after I allowed that to process, then I would see, okay, is there actually like, is there a circumstance that triggered this? So then we're going to change from like just hanging out in the anxiety. It's like, okay, is there a circumstance that I can point to that triggers it? Or is there a problem that I haven't been addressing that I also need to identify? And if it's just like having like as the CEO, it would be like problem and circumstance identified. And then if it's also just like going through like hormones and personal life and weather and hormones, then it's like, okay, I'm just gonna accept that I might be feeling this for this amount of time and know this is a pattern, and then track it. So it's like there are two kind of like alternative solutions. One would be as a CEO, the CEO kind of like status, and be like, okay, this is like, is there a circumstance or problem that I need to identify? Then this is the personal. This is like, we wanted pattern track and see, okay, when is there a certain time of the month for all of us ladies that I feel a higher disposition to anxiety? And it's like, so that can be like hormones, personal life, and weather. It's like, okay, I know that every winter I'm going to get seasonal affective disorder. Every winter it's going to happen. How can I solve for that versus like spinning out in that? So these are the two. It's like I would say like the first step is actually allowing in the moment and being like, whoa, this is like, I mean, I felt really weirdly anxious this weekend, which is like, it was like, and I could also tell like, this is like, there's something called an upper limit problem. And I know we've talked about, but it's like, yeah. And Talia, I know that we talked about like having, like literally you've got the book behind you, but essentially like your body has a capacity to experience joy and happiness. And if you go over that limit, self-sabotage is on the rise. So it's like, just being aware, it's like, are things just going really well? And I just need to, like, it's like maybe one weird area of my life, and that's when I would check it out. So first off, how does this land?
Yeah, I think even the way you have it written out, like CEO and personal, I think doing that as an exercise and getting it out on paper might help just to see it
Sure.
differently.
And I would
Yeah.
say like that could also be part of the allowance piece, like getting it on paper. And oh my gosh, it would be really cool if there was a document that you could use to document things. And oh wait, that's your thought work. So that is, again, set up systems. It'll be in the ThoughtWork system. You'll make a copy of this document and track it here, so you can just like go through. And if you don't know what any of this is, which y'all know, but there's a video, right? So it'll be helpful. Any other? So this is sounding good to you, like just getting it out on paper. Are you open to, and I should have asked Talia this, are you open to receiving like other people's ideas about this, or are you feeling complete?
No, 100% open to ideas.
Awesome. And your favorite color is pink, right? Right? Okay, so Demetria and Talia, double T in the house. Any advice? Yeah, go ahead, Demetria.
Faster than typing. I journal every morning before I start my day and just get it all out.
Mhm.
And so what I was telling Megan last time in our coaching around quitting my job, I had been journaling on alternative plans and what if things go wrong, which yes, have a backup plan, but don't focus on that. So I stopped that and I started journaling on how can I make it right and things like that. So that helped me, but for that thing, which was big for me. But journaling on whatever comes up every morning, just getting all of that out first thing helps me so much in all of life, not just business, but in all of life. And because when you put it down on paper, you can see it and you can like, well, where did that thought come from? And then you can start to work on it. So that would be my suggestion.
Thank you.
Amazing. And I'm totally with you. I journal sometimes using talk to type on the way to yoga. That is not safe. And we wouldn't actually, I would never recommend it, but like sometimes that's a way that some people choose to get the thought work out. I'm not saying I do that at all. Talia, what is
I have one quick one too. I second journaling. Third, I don't know. For me, I thought that I struggled with like absolutely debilitating anxiety. And a thought that really helped me is that anxiety was a habit and I didn't actually need a reason. And so focusing on the body-based stuff was really, really helpful for me. If you know anything about like polyvagal theory or nervous system stuff. I have a breathing exercise that I do when my anxiety comes up, which I would love to like briefly demonstrate if you'd like. If that's helpful.
Yeah.
So it's
everyone.
it's called the physiological sigh. I'll describe it first and then I'll demonstrate it. So you just breathe in all the way, fully expand your lungs. So your lungs feel full, pause for just a second and then breathe in again. So it's like you cannot force any more air in your lungs and then hold it for kind of until it becomes slightly uncomfortable and then release it slowly. For me now, if I just do it once, like I can just feel my whole body relax. But if you repeat it a couple of times, I've never seen it not work. So it's breathe in. And I just got the like, oh.
Yeah. Well, the reason
Oh, wow.
isn't that wild? Okay, so a lot of us, as myself included, I am not claiming to be a nervous system coach, nor am I claiming to have like, I'm not obviously like a therapist. However, I've been so curious about like the nervous system polyvagal theory. I will post in the notes
Yes.
podcast. Like, yeah, so I was like, video, and I think Demetria too, it's like, I love this chart. And it's just so helpful to like see what's happening. And also if it's a habit, I like love all these things. It's like if it's a habit, don't always need a reason. Sometimes it's just like a habitual reason, like a habitual feeling of anxiety. And then just switch into your body, which I do actually have somebody who is coming in, the one who I told you guys about in March, when you guys like go into your thought work or into your progress tracking and video. Sorry, you're like the first one here. But like this was, it says the May 23rd or guest coach. It's going to be Renee. I specifically hired her to learn more about the subconscious responses, and she's going to teach you like tools that I'm going to like reference throughout, along with that also help with this. So sometimes for us, like there's a thing called tapping that like hasn't really worked that doesn't work for me personally, but there's like other things. So maybe the physiological side works for you, maybe it doesn't, but giving it a try, seeing if it can like help you, huge. Like, just why not? It's like, why wouldn't we try to do something that can help us? Also, I hope you're hearing from both these lovely ladies and anyone else who's watching this that as an entrepreneur, being anxious also is like a very normal part of having a business, because it's something that's currently, again, an atypical career path. And so I think that like for us to feel concerned about our safety, which is what anxiety is trying to, again, as a wonderful problem identifier, like your brain is, we want to make sure that like we normalize it, recognizing if it's a habit, if it's not a habitual thing, journaling about it, and also having like other modes of like if journaling maybe isn't working, like looking for other ways to solve that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yay for morning pages. Yes. Oh, I love that. Morning pages, thought work, all the things. So good. How is that landing, Vinya?
I think that's helpful. I think the point about it being a habit is really interesting and resonates with me.
Mm-hmm. And like that might be a situation. Now, sometimes there might be like, and I take medication for my ADHD. There is no shame in the medication game because there was literally a chemical imbalance. Like, so there like actually might be a chemical imbalance. And everyone that watches this, like, do what works for you and see if these things work. And if not, then there are also like so many other ways of like working through this. But I think this anxiety being a habit was something that I've never really heard before. And that's why I love the collaboration of this group, because it's like we're going to hear different, completely different aspects to like, because I would have never said this to you and I don't know these breathing exercises. So that's why I want to have collaboration being like a cornerstone of this crew. So I'm really glad that landed for you. All right. Now, Demetria knows sometimes we'll go over if there's still, I want to check in and see how you're doing. The only, like, I would love for if you're not able to attend the calls, set aside 2 hours and it will list it when you YouTube or when you get on the YouTube video if it goes over. And I try not to go over more than 15 minutes. Sometimes it goes to 20, but usually I try and be respectful of your time. So if you guys need to go, it's almost noon my time, not taking it personally. However, I do want to check in with Demetria and see if there's anything that I can help you with.
I think I'm pretty good. If I come up with something, I've been doing a lot of self-coaching. So if I come up with something, I will put it in the stream. I know I will come up with something. But, you know, there are things but one thing that I have done is when my brain gives me questions around all of this, I make myself answer them. So that's all of my journaling. Like, am I crazy for quitting my job? And no, I am not crazy. So I'm making myself answer them and look at those. One of the other things that I did was I'm going to see my mom and she's a worrier. And I was going to tell her, you know, and I'm like, I'm not tell her right now. I'm going to be giving notice in 3 weeks from today, but I don't have to tell her right now. I can tell her later. Like, she doesn't need extra time to worry. Like, I don't want to spoil, not that I would spoil Easter, but I don't want to, you know, she doesn't need to know right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like I want to have more answers, like all of my answers solid in my head and in my heart. And I think she'll be supportive because I did a little bit drop a little nugget like a year or so ago, and she didn't like, bah. So so we'll see how that all goes. But yeah, that's where I am. So I think I'm pretty good for right now.
Okay.
But there will be, stay tuned.
Literally, like anytime that you are just like, also, this is like a support group for all of us as we go to these next stages of our business. Not saying that there's a hierarchy, but we are all going to have shit that comes up. Post in the stream every time. Like, you are not alone. That is why you are in a group. That is why you have me. You've literally paid me to be your support. So if you've like, an old thought that I had was that like relationships are transactional, and if I post in the group, I have to give something in return. Like, I've got a thought about that with like 200K in the mastermind that I'm in. And so I want you to, like, if you're noticing that, recognize it. And also maybe even post about it in the group and be like, I feel like if I post, I have to help somebody else. You do not. That is not why you joined this group. It is not for you to be a coach for other people. It is for you to get coached yourself and collaborate every once in a while if you've got ideas. So if the string gets really long, like it does in a Facebook group that I'm a part of, don't worry about it. It's not a mandatory part of this group, but feel free to post it. Also, this is the solution-oriented piece for sure. Like, this is how you start to design that. And I think that this getting yourself into a place where you're like, okay, I know this could trigger the brick enemy. I could either work on my thoughts or I fully support changing the circumstance. Like just being like, I'm just not going to trigger myself unnecessarily. That is a waste of my energy and time right now that I do not want to have to deal with, like coaching myself on my mom's reaction. Like I fully support like in not like business decisions, but like if you're like, oh, my mom always triggers me, like we also don't need to tell her. Like so it's like we can like, or like if there's someone that triggers you on Instagram, block them. It's like it doesn't need to like be something that like you're like, I have to overcome every circumstance that comes my way because I'm a X, Y, and Z. It's like, no, we can also change the circumstance and make our lives a little bit easier.
Yes.
Awesome. Is there anyone else like that has any like last thoughts before we close out? Like thinking about like all the things that we talked about with like anxiety within choosing business decisions, anything like that before we call it a day? Yes. Talia, lay it on us.
I just want to say thanks for all of you for witnessing my need for clarity. It helps to have everyone here.
Yes. And if you could just give like a thumbs up if like Talia's coaching like was like fucking awesome for your brain also today. Yeah. It helped all of us. Like it's always great to hear other people's coaching. That's why we joined this mastermind. So if someone takes like a full, I don't suspect it happened once where someone took like a full hour, but if someone takes like a full 2 hours of our coaching call for some reason, people are going to get like your thank you is appreciated. And also as women, like I noticed like we're asking for permission, like to ask questions, asking, like thanking, just being grateful for it's like y'all, like no, we are badass women who are doing something that is not typical in the world, and we don't need to apologize for asking questions or thanking other people for like taking up space. It is important for us to take up space and grow all together. And even if it feels really uncomfortable, feel free to like keep saying like, can I like if you, I'm just gonna keep pointing it out and being like, you're a badass CEO who paid to be here, and you do not need to like say thank you for existing, like, and having questions because it's gonna serve us. Just a little like fun tidbit. Okay. So as it being said, reminders, look at that post I just did in the stream, send me your video with the headshot, I'm gonna pull back up because I forget what I said. It was like the timing for one call is changing, one out of all of them. Voting on accountability by Friday at noon. So Monday at 9 a.m., 8 p.m., Wednesday at 9 a.m., Thursday at 8 at 4 p.m. If I ever have to move those, I will inform you. The call moved, put the thought word document together. Oh, there is another video that talks about your long-term plan, and it's designed to help you dream big, not designed for you to beat yourself up for not being at a further point. Take a look at that because it's like about like where you want to be 5 years from now. We want to design those businesses today for the business that you're going to create in the future. And it helps to gain a little bit perspective without beating yourself up for not being there. Weekly form. Hopefully you guys did that. And then sign up for a one-on-one session. Usually we will not have this many updates also. Sorry, it's a lot today, but there was a first call, so there was a lot of updates, and that is it. So that's it. I love you guys so much. This is awesome, and I will see you next week. Bye.